This KFAN podcast is sponsored by Builders and Remodelers, exclusive Twin Cities provider of Elements Windows. Get the highest quality windows at unmatchable value. Visit buildersandremodelers.com for more details.
It is Ryan Seacrest here. There was a recent social media trend which consisted of flying on a plane with no music, no movies, no entertainment. But a better trend would be going to ChumbaCasino.com. It's like having a mini social casino in your pocket. Chumba Casino has over 100 online casino-style games, all absolutely free. It's the most fun you can have online and on a plane. So grab your free welcome bonus now at ChumbaCasino.com. Sponsored by Chumba Casino.
No purchase necessary. VGW Group. Void where prohibited by law. 21 plus. Terms and conditions apply.
Did you know that parents rank financial literacy as the #1 most difficult life skill to teach? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app for families. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on what your kids are spending with real-time notifications. Kids learn to earn, save, and spend wisely. And parents can rest easy knowing their kids are learning about money with guardrails in place. Try Greenlight risk-free today at greenlight.com/iHeart.
Let your imagination take flight with an AI-powered PC from Lenovo. Whether it's creating digital art, designing new software, or building a portfolio for a future career, our PCs are powered by Intel Core Ultra processors to help students unlock smarter learning and unleash their creativity. That's the power of Lenovo with Intel inside. All you have to do is choose the one that fits your passion. Head to Lenovo.com to shop AI PCs and find your perfect companion. Plus, get 5% off when you create an education account.
Kind of caught me off guard. It is the Dark Star Memorial Hour, but because we do Program Password generally on Fridays, we don't do it till 2:15. I hear the music. Many people would panic. I don't panic. I just shift gears. I went from wanting to talk about nil to doing Dark Star Memorials. Now, here is where my issue is. I missed a few Fridays, so a couple of people sent Dark Star Memorials. I said I would get to them a couple of Fridays from now. I don't know if I have them all. I think I do. And I actually think I read this one before, but the person who submitted it says he wanted to do a rewrite, basically send it to rewrite and punch it up. Or I didn't read it on there because I read them all, before ahead of time. So I'm wondering, am I remembering this one from just reading it to myself? Did I do it on the air? And did I do the rewrite on the air? So what I've decided to do, I've made my own executive decision. I'm going to read the rewrite right now as our first of two Dark Star Memorials. This one says, the great in Great Dane holds so many meanings, far too many to list, but here are a few. The obvious, they're great big, easy to see with the eye, but that great big heart they have inside often goes overlooked unless you have loved one. Great big bills, those food and vet bills can be just that. He was worth every single penny and then some. Great big messes. Few could rival Bruno's ability to slobber. We will even miss this part. And the last one I will mention here, which is unfortunately where our family is right now, the great big hole they leave when they pass on far, far too soon. And none are greater than the one our Bruno left behind. He was only complete, truly happy and fulfilled when we were together as a family. While we can't imagine the pain of ever getting better, we are truly grateful for every moment we shared. He will be forever missed. Rest in peace to the greatest of the great, Great Dane, Bruno. And I think I did read this on the air, but I did not read the rewrite as far as I know, and it was requested again today, and I do appreciate it. Then there's this one from Marcus. It says, Carmen, I'm writing to you on Mother's Day as my lovely grandmother Jane has passed away this morning in the comforts of her own home. Can you tell Dark to get a shot of vodka and a smoke ready for her? She loved the Marlboro flip-top box reds, just like you, Carmen. Her favorite vodka was Stoli. She now joins her late husband, Dave, in the afterlife. She's survived by her children, Alan, Robin, Lance, and Chris, and grandchildren. If Dark Star could show her the best place to sit and watch the wildlife while she smokes, that would be amazing. Love you, Grandma Jane. Love your grandson, Marcus. Love your grandson, Marcus, and your doggo, Sarah. Thank you, Carmen, for everything you do. I do irrigation for work, and I always have my headphones on to the fan. You guys help people more than you know. Thank you. Signed, Marcus, and we do appreciate that. That's your Dark Star Memorials for today. I stumbled across this story, Teneby. NIL, name, image, likeness. We 3-4 years into that now in college sports. That sound about right?
Something like that.
This was a Brad Crawford story he writes for CBS Sports. This popped up about 3 hours ago. One of college basketball's highest paid players last season, former Duke star Cooper Flagg, had an estimated nil contracts that were staggering, according to longtime sports journalist and author Howard Bryant. During a recent sit-down with Bobby Costas at the 92nd Street Y, New York City, Howard asked his co-host how much Flagg earned in nil at Duke. Costas was unsure, but then Howard provided an answer that resulted in an audible gasp from the audience. What do you think, Teneby, he made from nil money in last year as a freshman? Cooper Flagg.
2025?
Yeah, and he was the top-rated college player, played for Duke, right? Expected to be the number one draft pick overall. Not sure if he will go number one, but that's expected. What do you think he made last year?
I mean, I felt like a lot of these top guys are getting $1 million, maybe getting $2 million. The way you just posed that question makes me feel like that is not close.
Not even close.
I'm going to go $12 million.
$28 million.
Wow.
Says,
you've got to be kidding me.
He had a $13 million with New Balance and then $15 with Fanatics. Here's the thing. Howard's reported total is likely Flagg's nil contracts in totality and not an annual payment. So maybe it is more than 1 year. ESPN's Adrian Wojnarowski previously reported Flagg's New Balance agreement was significant. These are often multi-year contracts between incoming rookies and sneaker companies. Flagg's massive deal with New Balance ahead of his first season in the NBA makes him one of the brand's newest signature athletes. Flagg signed his multi-year partnership with the Fanatics in January, but terms of that deal were not released. Man, it sounds like he could just as well stay in school and make just as much money, right?
Well, I suppose now, obviously we know in basketball over the years, the amount of money being thrown out on shoe contracts, right? And I think Michael Jordan started it,
right,
with Nike. I mean, he wasn't the first one to have his own shoe, but the first one to just make that company a bunch of money.
Correct.
But even Michael, I've seen the movie about, I forget what the movie was called, regarding Michael and deciding to go with Nike. And, they had to go after him while he was a rookie in the NBA, where now, because of nil, they're going to be going after these guys. If you can identify someone who's going to be a superstar in the future, you're going after them early into college, and they're going to be making lots and lots of money just based off of that.
Well, you and I both believe in marketing, advertising. We work in the business, we work in the industry. We see all the success stories. But on the shoe thing, so it must sell those companies a lot of shoes, because I guess people are influenced by if Cooper Flagg wears the New Balance shoes, they're going to buy the New Balance shoes. Much like if people see me wearing Unreal golf apparel as an Unreal golf ambassador, they'll buy it. And so think on that level. I mean, this is just a little, a major market midday talk show host. Imagine what it's like on that level with Flagg. That's why it's worth the kind of money that it is. Because people will see him wear that and they'll go, wow, I love Cooper Flagg. Look at those New Balance.
Still crazy money.
Yeah, it is. Look at those shoes he's wearing, man. And then they want to get those exact shoes. I mean, I remember when Baby Brother Peter played basketball. He'd get new shoes every year, right? And they would run the gamut from not only the different companies, but the different colors they would get because they want to look drippy. So he went from, he'd have soft pink to baby blue to white and just all the different styles and colors. But, I think like in college, some of these, is this how it works in all of college? Is it the coach that has the shoe contract and he makes his kids wear all those shoes? That's how I thought it worked, at least at some school. I think
each school, might have like a Nike contract where all their apparel. Yeah,
is provided by that. Let's take a short break. We come back. We've got controversial Vikings news on the other side of the break and other topics as well. It's a Fed Up Friday here on the Common Man program here on the Fan.
Are you shopping for a new laptop while still trying to keep up with technology and AI? Talk about feeling burnt out, but no more. Lenovo.com makes it easier than ever to find the perfect PC. In fact, we'll break it down for you. Step 1. Shop our lineup of AI PCs powered by Intel Core Ultra processors. Because why deal with downloading new software when you can buy a smarter PC that already comes with all of the AI features and tools? Step 2. Find the one that fits your passion. Whether you're a creative genius, a research scientist, a hardcore gamer, or a future CEO, no dream is too big. That's the power of Lenovo with Intel inside. You can keep up with your ideas as well as any challenges you may face. Step 3. Add to cart and purchase. Oh, if you're a college student or a teacher, make an education account through us and get 5% off your whole order. Shop now at Lenovo.com. A better future is waiting, and it needs you.
Did you know that parents rank financial literacy as the #1 most difficult life skill to teach? Meet Greenlight, the debit card and money app for families. With Greenlight, you can send money to kids quickly, set up chores, automate allowance, and keep an eye on what your kids are spending with real-time notifications. Kids learn to earn, save, and spend wisely. And parents can rest easy knowing their kids are learning about money with guardrails in place. Try Greenlight risk-free today at greenlight.com/iHeart.
Man.
Couple 13-14 past. I'm Com and he is 10 of B. Big Ticket JG, I believe, in next. Someone sent a text message that says curb check tip is just like that Dark Star Valet thing. I thought most people did curb check. Have you ever done it? Where you just pull up to, if you fly Delta, you pull up, there's a couple of guys standing there. Take your bags, put them on the weigh scale. They put the thing on, you move in, and then you don't have to go inside, and you just go straight to TSA and go. I feel
like I've done it once in my life, but I don't do it.
Yeah. Any reason why you don't do it? Because it seems easier to me. Maybe it's not. It just seems much more convenient than bringing it in and getting in the line. Because usually when I see, there seems to be people checking in at the desk, the counter, there seem to be longer lines there to do that, whereas when I do the curb check, there's only maybe one person in front of me. So I get in, I get out, and it's like valet parking.
Yeah. That's why people don't do it. It costs more money.
Well, it's just a tip.
Well, yeah.
Well, you don't have to tip.
Well, you do.
Well, you don't.
I know you're not required to, but.
Yeah, but what's the $10 or $20? Just, time is money. If you're flying, you can afford $10 or $20 tip. Trust me, if you're going on vacation, you can afford a $10 or $20 tip. And that's worth my time. $20 to...
You know how many people are hovering to get onto an airplane? You want to know why they hover? Because they need to get they don't want to check a bag. They want to make sure they get a compartment spot up top to put their bag in, because they don't want to have to pay the money to check the bag. But even though that might only be another $40, $50. So, people will all... Yes, everyone flying can afford $10, $20, but a lot of people are trying to cut costs as much as they possibly can because it's expensive.
Well, good, because you're a fool if you're doing curb check. You're a fool. You're just making a huge mistake, but teach his own. There are 12 NFL teams that have never won a big game. 12. We are the kings of list radio, especially on a Friday. Tend to be, of those 12 teams, which do you think the odds makers think have the best chance to win the big game this year?
Buffalo Bills.
You are correct. Odds are plus 750. They've had 4 big game appearances. Says keep playing with fire and you're bound to get burned. The Bills have made a record-tying 4 big games without actually winning one. And their current regime is mirroring that close call identity. With Josh Allen and Sean McDermott making 6 straight playoff appearances and claiming, count them, 0 AFC titles. Allen is a walking highlight reel as the reigning MVP, and McDermott's tenure is starting to resemble that of his old mentor, Andy Reid, who famously approached the big stage for years before finally getting over the hump. There are fair questions about the level of playmakers on the perimeters, out wide, and at cornerback on this roster, but the Bills will also enjoy a light schedule in 2025, all but demanding another surge into January. Next on the list would be your Motor City Kitties, tend to be 0, by the way, big game appearances. It says there's a case to be made. The Kitties have already peaked in their current form, squandering a number one seed in 2024 and then losing both of their top coordinators to other jobs. Still, it's hard to deny the talent that helped them go from 9 to 12 to 15 wins over Danny Campbell's last 3 seasons. Goff may need to find an extra gear in January to reach a second career big game, but his skill support is still elite. Gibbs, St. Brown, Williams, Laporta, etc., and Campbell won't lose his aggressive touch just because Ben Johnson is no longer holding a clipboard for him. And I've said this on the air a couple of times since the end of last season, Tennessee. I think there's a better chance that Detroit takes a step or two back than continues to go forward. It's hard to top 15-2. It really is. And I do think losing the coordinators makes a difference. I don't know how much. You and I have had this discussion like everybody else. It's an old cliche, players play and coaches coach. And I think the better your personnel, the better a coach looks. But there are coaches who can make their personnel look better. But I'm not, much like Wolves fans, I think, are already believing, well, last year we got to the door. This year we knocked on it. We're kicking it in next year. And that very well may be. But I don't think, and I know this isn't going on a limb, I don't think the Kitties are going to approach 15-2 this year. I think you're looking at, if you get to double-digit wins, maybe a couple more than that, that's pretty good because their schedule has gotten tougher.
Well, it's always hard to know the success of a unit, how much is on the players, how much of it is on the coordinator. I guess we'll find out now the coordinator lost. I will say, at least with Detroit, you got 2 of them that have left, right? It's not like you're just losing
Correct.
one and, hey, we can still survive with the one. All it takes is one of those 2 to have been way more important than we ever knew. Now, I will say, though, on the defensive side of the ball, even if you think, was it Glenn? Even if you think if he was a defensive genius, they weren't very healthy over there. And you'd like to assume they're going to be much healthier this year, so maybe the health of the team could overcome any of the shortcomings of a coordinator change.
Yes, yeah, you're right.
Aiden Hutchinson should be back.
Yeah, their defense was decimated. I called them Detroit, the Triple D, Detroit's decimated defense, and it certainly was. It was historic. No team had ever suffered that many injuries to starting players in the history of the National Football League to a starting defensive unit. So it certainly was. And again, maybe that's just my glass half empty. And, I'll look at I know how Minnesota sports fans always, they're the Murphy's Law. What will go wrong can. It's always going to end badly for us. And as a Lions fan, you've always felt that way as well because of all the losing seasons since 1957. Though the last 2 have been very encouraging. I went to the NFC Championship game, for crying out loud, 2 years ago. And they had a 24-7 halftime lead, 23-7, whatever it was, and ended up losing. But I don't know how wide that window's open, much like with the Wolves. I think they may regress. I don't know. We'll see what happens. They got the Bungles, who have had 3 big game appearances at plus 1,900, the third team that they feel that has not won a big game, third best chances. Houston.
They had a pretty awful defense for a good chunk of last year. But offensively, they can play with anyone.
Houston Texans at plus 2,500.
Yeah, Houston above us?
Yeah, 0 big game appearances. Here's what it says. C.J. Stroud quickly went from sterling rookie to shaky second-year starter at QB, but a rebound should be in order after Houston reworked his front and added help out wide. The real driving force here is DeMeco Ryans' defense, which might be the most imposing unit in the NFL by the end of the year. C.J. Gardner-Johnson's addition on the back end just gives them more bites. So they think Stroud will rebound and the defense could be elite. They have the Chargers as a better chance than the Vikings tend to be. I don't know if you agree with that.
People love the Chargers.
They do. We've talked about that. They're at plus 2,600. They've had 1 big game appearance and they got just destroyed by the San Francisco 49ers. That was one of the first appearances I ever made, and I made it at some hotel bar. Nobody showed up to see me. Nobody. Which is probably what we'll get at Flop, Sweat, and Tears. Now, tickets are available, birdiegolf.com, and I think we're over 100 tickets sold, so we're feeling pretty good about that. Anyways, it's got the Chargers at 5, and then it has your soon-to-be big game world champion Minnesota Vikings tend to be 6 plus 2,700. Super Bowl appearances, we all know. There have been 4. Here's what it writes. If we could guarantee top quarterback play in Minnesota, the Vikings might be a favorite to go the distance because they have everything else. A beloved coach in Kevin O'Connell, electric playmakers in Jets and Jordan Addison, a freshly fortified offensive front, and exotic defense led by Brian Flores. Winning 14 games with Sammy Darnold has an arm, E-I-E-I-O, in 2024 may have inflated expectations. However, putting undue pressure on J.J. McCarthy, who's 22 and set to take his first NFL snaps under center. If he's as poised as they believe him to be, perhaps the Vikings can outlast their rough schedule after all. And we've talked about it. We're not the only ones here. You know, we follow the team probably a bit more closely than they do nationally. But I think we all tend to agree that barring any major setbacks with health, and there's always going to be some. You just don't want to have key players, star players, losing a lot of games to injury. But if they stay relatively healthy, I think how JJ goes, so goes the purple. Would you agree with that? If he plays well, they'll probably have a good season. If he's shaky, they'll probably have a shaky season.
He's the only question mark.
I think he really, really is.
Which is weird to say.
Yeah,
I shouldn't say only cornerback position, but I still think that'll probably be addressed here in the next month or two.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. A number of people are weighing in on this very controversial topic, so we'll do that as well when we come back to the Common Man program on Fan.
Are you shopping for a new laptop while still trying to keep up with technology and AI? Talk about feeling burnt out, but no more. Lenovo.com makes it easier than ever to find the perfect PC. In fact, we'll break it down for you. Step 1. Shop our lineup of AI PCs powered by Intel Core Ultra processors. Because why deal with downloading new software when you can buy a smarter PC that already comes with all of the AI features and tools? Step 2. Find the one that fits your passion. Whether you're a creative genius, a research scientist, a hardcore gamer, or a future CEO, no dream is too big. That's the power of Lenovo with Intel inside. You can keep up with your ideas as well as any challenges you may face. Step 3. Add to cart and purchase. Oh, if you're a college student or a teacher, make an education account through us and get 5% off your whole order. Shop now at Lenovo.com. A better future is waiting, and it needs you.
Couple 13-14 past Common Man program. We call this Victory Formation segment. We've had another winning week. And we're very proud of that fact. Week after week, year after year. This text message came in. Make your own power rankings instead of reading others. You just watch sports if you want to be on this sports station. That's just too much work. Why would I want to do that? I let other people do my work for me, then I just put it into words. Some people don't understand how this business works, do they? There are different ways to approach it. There are those that put in hours of prep, get up at the crack of 10 o'clock in the morning. That's deuce. Get up at the crack of dawn, turn on ESPN on TV and watch the TV sports shows, the ones with like the Stephen A. Smiths of the world, the Colin Cowards. Undisputed, I think they call it. It used to be the cranky guy from Dallas and one of the Sharp brothers. And they read Fish Wrap East West, and then read them upside down, then they eat them. They do the athletics. Why? That's fine if you like to do it that way. I'd rather just go through somebody puts together a list of the best odds for the 12 teams that have ever won a big game, and then analyze it on our own. Say, they think number one, here's why we do or don't. So we are putting our spin on it.
Yeah.
We're just using it. It's sort of like, you have to have a canvas to use, and then you have to have the paint and the brush and all that. And so it's worked for 33 years for us. So stick to listening, and I'll stick to putting together the sports.
Leave the radio to the professionals.
Yes. Well, that's exactly what I'm trying to say.
And I would say, if you could be in impeccable shape, just like the most manly shape you could be just by going for a walk for 20 minutes.
Yep.
Would you then just continue to go to the gym and work out for another 3 hours to make sure you are as sculpted as possible
That's
when you already are just doing the 20-minute walk?
And that's exactly right. Nobody would do that.
Yeah.
And so we're just doing it. We're taking the easy way out. And sometimes the easiest way is the best way. I think I've said this before. In talking about curb check, just for instance, time is money. So for me to give the guy a $20 tip so that I don't have to stand in line, it's just, for me, it simplifies things for me. It's sort of like valet parking.
Hold on.
We have some breaking news.
This is standard and expected, but let it begin. Let the speculation season begin.
Okay.
According to Sam Amico.
Okay.
Or Amico, A-M-I-C-O. He's a senior NBA writer for
I think it's Amico.
Hoopswire.com, formerly of NBA for Fox Sports, Sports Illustrated. The Minnesota Timberwolves are reportedly looking to trade for an alpha and are expected to pursue Kevin Durant, per Sam Amico. Quote, the Timberwolves need another alpha next to Edwards to win it all, which is why sources told Hoopswire that Minnesota is expected to pursue a Durant trade again this offseason. Now, not surprising because those reports came before the trade deadline this year. And at that time, they'd even said, hey, this could continue. They were just laying the groundwork for something that can happen this summer.
I'd rather have Jimmy Buckets myself. I think Buckets has got more to offer than Durangelo.
Oh my gosh. Above average.
But I'm in the minority, I know. Minnesota Timberwolves fans got their feelings hurt because they didn't like the way Jimmy treated the rest of the team. Quit being such a bad guy. Speaking of the Wolves, while they decide to just pack it in and go quietly into the night with their tail tucked between their hind legs, the New York Knickerbockers did the exact opposite, faced with the same dilemma that the Wolves were down 3-1. They entered Game 5, and they dominated last night and beat the Indiana Pacers 111-94. Brunson Burner was very good, 32 points, 5 rebounds, and 5 assists. The artist formerly known as Big Meow, a.k.a. Bodega Cat, had a monster night last night, if you watched. 24 points, 13 rebounds, 3 assists. He was sparkling last night. The player that a lot of people were in this town wanted, where don't let the door hit you on the way out, and they were delighted that he was gone. And I think that Knickerbockers are delighted to have him, as are their fan base. And Big Meow was Bodega Cat was a post-game guest of the TNT crew of Chuck, Shaq, Ernie, and Kenny the Jet on court because they were on site for the game. And Bodega was really good last night. And what was interesting was, the crew doesn't like, they don't pull any punches. I mean, they'll hand out. It's sort of like you and I we'll hand out compliments when they're deserving, but we're not going to ignore poor performances, lack of effort, whatever the case may be. But we'll also praise a team and we've done that for much of the Wolves season when they went on the 25-5 run or whatever that was, we praised them mightily. There were a couple of clunkers in there and some, the team admitted it, just lack of effort a lot of times, just didn't feel like playing. And which is kind of peculiar to me and it always sticks in my craw, but after the one thing they asked is, they talked about him instead of just, they basically, I don't remember which of the three asked, but they said, you're good at hitting threes, but you started going downhill more. I could be wrong, but I don't think he made a three last night. I don't even know if he attempted a three last night. He decided to play like a big man, and the TNT crew noted that with Big Meow, and he said, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah, that's what I felt I needed to do to help the team." But then it was funny. Barkley said, "Now I gotta criticize you too." And Ant said, "Okay, what do you got?" And Barkley said, "You got to stop at the silly fouls." And Bodega Cat admitted that he does need to stay away from that. It's interesting. Oftentimes when these guys,
he was 1 for 4 from 3.
He took 4. I didn't even know he took any. I guess I wasn't paying as close attention to the game as I once did. But he only made 1. He went down, so most of his points many of them were taken right to the basket. So he was very, very good last night. And he admitted that he's got to stop the silly fouls. They showed highlights of 2 of them. There's one where he's basically wrestling. It's like there's no need at this point. So you see that he's not the only one. You'll see basketball players make fun. Go, why are you even bothering making that foul? Give up the basket or let him go or don't do.
We've been saying that for 5 years.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
and so he admitted that. Now whether he changes his stripes, because he said, "Yeah, I know I need to do that, and I'm going to try to get better at that."
Yeah.
And again, whether he does or not, remains to be seen. But he was.
It's weird because to play at that level, you're clearly a very coordinated athlete, especially with how well he can shoot.
Yep.
Yet he's still got a little bit of lack of coordination sometimes. If that right, he's just kind of lanky and arms kind of flying everywhere. Looks like a baby giraffe sometimes.
Yeah. Baby Brother Peter and I, we love watching the big guys, especially the ones that aren't as good and they're a little uncoordinated. They're the dope-de-dopes, as Barrero calls them. Dope-de-dope, dope-de-dope, because they've got that plodding look. And they're funny. Like, even Gobert, it's sad.
Oh, he's got some to it, yeah.
It's sad, really, because he's one of us. He wasn't born here, obviously, but he's, plays for our club. His hands are sometimes they're like hands of stone. He'll get the ball and he just can't hang on to it, but it can be amusing at times. There's another story I stumbled across in CBS Sports. Why Lamar Jackson could get $70 million per year.
Yeah.
What's the highest paid quarterback right now?
I think we're at 60, I think.
We at 60? Are we really at that much? $70 million. Lamar Jackson still has 3 years left on his contract, but the Ravens are likely going to try to get an extension done in the near future due to the quarterback's cap hits. In 2025, Jackson's cap hit is only $43.5 million, which is manageable. But in 2026, that shoots up to $74.5 million.
Well, Dak said 50. That's the highest right now in terms of a cap hit.
That's a massive number, and the Ravens are going to have to do something about it. So how much could Jackson end up getting in his next deal? According to a former NFL agent, Joel Corey, who now works with CBS Sports, he's in line to get a record-setting deal. You mentioned Dak. He's got the largest. He's 4-year, $240 million extension. That's paying him an average of $60 million a year. Is that what the average is? $60 million a year. The number Jackson could target since 2022, any quarterback who has reset the market has done so by getting a deal that's an average of 9.98% higher. So generally a 10% raise.
So I was looking at cap hit, but yeah, total cash is Herbert at $60 million.
So, every quarterback that has reset the market has been paid about 10% more, just under that, right? So based on that trend, Jackson can justify $65.5 million to $67 million per year for a contract extension he signs this year. Jackson's reasonable worst-case scenario should be adjusting his $52 million per year for the 24.2% increase of the salary cap since he signed it in 2023. This is approximately $64.5 million a year. He could be looking at a deal that pays him between $64.5 and $67, and he could still get more. He could ask for as much as $70 million a year. And that's where, and we've talked about this. And by the way, to the one text messenger, I didn't read this. I figured this one out on my own. Once you get out of that rookie deal for your quarterback, all bets are off at that point because they eat up so much money. It's harder to place key players at the key positions around them. It just is. It's really hard to do. Every team's going to find them. Even like with the Thunder, and I'm not going to claim to know. I don't understand all their salary cap and this and the luxury tax and the aprons and all that. But we talked, but they're a very young team. SGA is, 26. They got a couple of other young players. I mean, they've got one of the younger rosters in the league, if I'm not mistaken. That's what I thought I saw the other day. And then how many first-round picks have they amassed over the years? They got like 13, 14 of them coming up over the next.
Many more coming.
Yeah. But the one issue is you have to start paying those guys too, right? So then all of a sudden your salary cap goes way up, and then all of a sudden here comes that luxury tax. And the next thing you know, so they're, despite the fact that being young in the first round picks, now that's where a great general manager steps in, and he's able to parlay some of those draft picks, maybe supplement, and maybe get some veteran players, and auxiliary or ancillary pieces that you got to have because you got to have not many teams have a terrific starting five top to bottom. You go, boy, that guy's the best at his. You usually have your 2, maybe 3 big time guys, and your other 2 starters are good, and then you have to have the other bench players that can obviously become very important in a game. So there's no guarantees that the Thunder are going to be parlay all those draft picks and all this these young players and keep them all happy with money. That's what we saw. That was part of Jimmy Bucket's problem. He was like, well, wait a minute now. I got 2 guys that I'm better than, and I'm not getting the money. I want max money too, and so. Guys play for the money. Let's face it, they're not there. It's like when I just loved when Cutler looked at an offensive lineman once and said, "Could you block somebody? I don't do this just for fun. I mean, come on, let's play some football here." And so that's the same thing with when you pay that quarterback that big money. That's why the McCarthy thing could be perfect, right? If he can immediately be like a Stroud was in his first year, or who else burst onto the scene right away earlier?
Well, Jaden Daniels last year.
Jaden Daniels last year. You play football like that, and all of a sudden, and even Brock Purdy, right? He had all the people surrounding him. He was making peanuts. He just signed the big deal just now, and I think he took a little less. I think part of that was he had to. He's not on the level of those other guys. He also made some kind of claim. I want to be able to help the rest of the team. I'm sure had he been able to get more money, he would have taken it. But regardless, if McCarthy can play, even close to a McDaniels or a Stroud in his first year, they are the catbird seat, man. If they stay healthy with the players they got, if these acquisitions are as good as we think they're going to be, you're in a good spot.
Well, that's why not a couple months ago, but last year's draft that McCarthy was in, 6 quarterbacks went in the top 12.
Yep.
And one of the reasons was because they knew this year's quarterback class wasn't going to be very good. But 2, to your point of these teams now realize, like, if you can get a quarterback that can contribute for you on that rookie salary for the first 5 years, you're absolutely golden because you see how much they're going to be making. You see how much you have to pay for them in free agency, or if you're going to trade for one, it's hard to do. So that's why 6 win the top 12. And even this year's draft, like Cam Ward is not thought to be like a slam dunk, can't miss quarterback prospect.
Right.
Travis Hunter was thought to be a better prospect. Abdul Carter, who went to the Giants, was thought to be a better prospect. But Cam Ward went number 1 because you're the top quarterback. And if you hit on that guy, you're set up for the next 5 years in a world where these guys are going to be making a ton of money on their second contracts.
Where did Deion's kid go? Is that Cleveland?
Yes.
And they've got like 8 quarterbacks on the roster.
Flacco's there. Kenny Pickett is there. Flacco. They drafted a quarterback before Shador, like in the third round.
Right. Do you think they're doing my idea that I had with the running back at the quarterback position instead? Remember when Warren called in and wanted to do that? Have each guy play a quarter.
I always love that one.
Don't know if that would work at the quarterback position. I think it's easier to do at running back, but yeah. So, and I used to be a guy that said you got to chase, go get a free agent, get a proven guy. You know, when Josh Allen becomes a free agent, go get him. But then the money is just, you can't, it's hard to field the quality players at the other positions.
I mean, it's hard to expect J.J. McCarthy to play at a Lamar Jackson type level.
Yeah.
And I'm not talking about stylistically because that's not the case. But if you do, you've now got a Lamar Jackson style player at $70 million less. Or, let's say 60.
Right.
60, 62. You know what you can get in the NFL for $60 million?
It's like,
you can load
it's
up.
the most wonderful time of the year. You're just tearing open those free agent gifts.
I mean, how many times are we seeing in the NFL, like, if you want to move up in the top 3 of a draft to draft a quarterback, you have to give up 3 drafts worth.
Correct.
Right? We saw what the 49ers gave up to give up Trey Lance.
Yep.
The Vikings had reportedly offered the Patriots a lot so they can move up and get Drake May and got turned down.
I think I'd like to have Drake May right about now.
Well, JJ might be the guy, and you didn't have to give up 2
that's true.
2 first-round plus picks for him.
I'm just saying, I'd like to have him, regardless of what you had to give up for him. And then, who's the kid at Washington again?
Jaden Daniels.
Yeah, no, that's the guy. He just looks easy, smooth and easy. Seems calm, cool, and collected. He carved up the decimated Detroit defense, too. He was so good that day. Guy was good. Do you think we can have a quarterback like that? Do you think McCarthy... God, what if McCarthy is that guy? That just doesn't happen here. I don't want to be that Viking fan or that Minnesota sports fan.
Well, if it does, we're in great shape.
Oh, I think we are, yeah. Well, we could be in...
if he turns into that guy, we should be expecting... Do you like parades?
Do you like parades is exactly how it should be. I'm on the road. I'm on
the road again?
348 or so. I'm gonna be north of that Anoka County line.
Is the Lowry Tunnel open yet, or we got lots of traffic issues going home?
I don't know. I won't be headed that direction. I'm going to be north of that Anoka County line, and my trouble's going to be behind. I will broadcast live tomorrow from Minnesota National at McGregor. It's just a gem of a golf course, a gold Jold Strand designed. 7,200 from the tips tend to be. Good luck with that. But tee boxes for all skill levels. Great golf course. We'll broadcast live. Tee to green, 10 until noon tomorrow. Otherwise, we're back on Monday at 12 noon. Tenby, thanks for having me.
Hey, great job.
You as well. Stick around. Big Ticket JG. They are next. Right here on the Fan.
Good morning, good afternoon, and good night, Minnesota!
And good night, folks. And good night, Mrs. Calabash. Wherever you are.
I've seen enough out of Cousins, Paul. Put him on ice.
Listen back to any of Common Man's programs by podcasting on the iHeartRadio app or KFAN.com.
Want to feel more creative but don't have the right laptop? Lenovo.com can help. Look through our legendary lineup of AI-powered PCs and devices and find the one that fits your passion. Our PCs powered by Intel Core Ultra processors, as well as cutting-edge AI tools, allow students to focus, learn, and create with ease. That's the power of Lenovo with Intel inside. Plus, college students and teachers can get 5% off their order. Shop now on Lenovo.com. The future's waiting, and it needs you.